Hey guys, it's Shannon from iHeartRadio Canada, joined by the woman who doesn't even need an introduction, Miley Cyrus. How are you?
Very, very good. Happy to talk to you.
Totally happy to talk to you. I've been a fan of yours for like close to a decade, so big moment for me. I'm really excited.
This is very cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the fact that you are just so good at redefining yourself in new ways, but you do it in such a way that it's so authentic and it's still so true to yourself. So, what inspired this whole new era of Miley right now?
I think a lot of us have been kind of having this self-reflective period of 2020. I know that we all felt like we were kind of like not just bringing in, this kind of new year. I think all of us had a lot of expectations for 2020. And no matter how you look at it, I think they definitely outdid our expectations, and not in the way that maybe we thought it would. But I think that we still were able to have this kind of self-reflective time that we all kind of needed, I guess, to stop and I think evaluate. I mean, I know in the beginning of quarantine, a lot of people kind of literally cleaned house. And now I think doing that to your physical self is really important as well. Going through like all of your emotions and traumas and going, all right, what is mine to own? What have I been borrowing from someone else that I need to give back to them? What is worth holding on to for memory's sake, and what's worth for passing on to someone that needs it more than I do now. And I think that was really an important part of this of record making process, was going through the last couple of years and looking at it from a perspective of what can I accept and what do I no longer think is worthy of me and my view.
Yeah, do you think that self-reflectiveness has gone into your songwriting because of the pandemic?
For sure. I mean, sometimes, a song will do that to me where, I think a track can become like a gift to you. And there's certain tracks that kind of like penetrate more in a way that they almost like pull the lyrics that you didn't even know were inside of yourself out. I mean, sometimes you can almost physically feel that. That's a really crazy kind of higher power experience where you walk in and you know that it was a gift because you walked into a room without it and you left with something that you never knew was going to be given to you. That is a gift. And this song was definitely a gift and was kind of in a way, I think maybe written before I wrote it. Like it was just so meant to be.
Yeah. In what way do you mean? Like, did you just go in and it just came to you?
It really was. Sometimes songs are very easy and then it's right. It's kind of like a good relationship with anything else. You go, yes, if something is worth it, usually there's an effort put in. So this was not no effort. There was a lot of effort, but it seemed in a way still easy. And it felt like sometimes when you get stuck too much on a song, you feel like, oh, maybe this isn't meant for me. This isn't mine to have. It doesn't seem like it fits. I do that with everything in my life. Really, when I evaluate something, I say, does this fit? And when I listened to the record, when I heard the track for the first time, it fit my idea of, it felt like the sonics again were kind of like, it was like soul sonics. It was like what I would have wanted to set on on a kind of vibration kind of level, and then being able to have the words paired along with it, where when I listened to it, hearing midnight sky is the road I'm taking, forever and ever no more, these lyrics just kind of started coming to me really easy.
Yeah, totally. What was your headspace like when you were going into that creative process?
What was really wild about this is, okay, so I self-directed the video and I was sitting outside, and my friend Andrew Watt, who's my creative partner and collaborator, came over, and I was like, just, sit with me while I'm writing this treatment for this whole other song that I was going to self-direct the video for. And he goes, okay, I didn't know if I should tell you or not, but I made a track over the weekend that I just feel like you're going to freak out when you hear this. And he played it for me. And all of a sudden I kind of just stopped everything and thought, this is the video I've been writing, which I didn't even know it yet. And kind of switched gears and said, well, good thing is I'm shooting a video this weekend. I'm just going to push play on a different song, but we got to hurry up and write some lyrics. So we ended up going to his house, the next day, and just kind of starting to say, what do I feel like has been missing? What between me and my fans, what part of the story is being left out? Because I feel like we went from A to C, and I wasn't able to kind of fill in. There's a big part of my last 2 years that the narrative was told for me by the public, per usual. And so I think all of us have decided to control our own narrative. And that's why it was so important to write this song and to kind of fill in that gap.
Yeah. Like you were saying about the public just writing it for you. Does that ever get easier? Because you've obviously been in the public eye for so long and had so many things written about you. Do you ever just like adapt to it?
I wouldn't say that it gets easier. I would say you get more accepting of the territory. And that I think I have a really healthy perspective of, you know, I think with anything in your life, you want to look at what is this adding and what is this subtracting. And if it seems like the list on the right side of subtraction is greater, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing. And so knowing that the gain is so much greater than the loss, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so what made you go with the decision to come out with multiple EPs rather than just one full-length album?
Well, actually, I kind of have, again, about reevaluation, have kind of looked at that and thought maybe that's not the next best step. So I'm kind of thinking about putting out a full record now, as the idea of doing this kind of trilogy was at a time where I had written a lot of those records and plan on putting them out before a lot changed in my life. And I think the great thing about music now is I would have been in a really bad position if I would have printed all those CDs and had them all ready to go. Someone would have said, sorry, but you got to put them out. They're already made. You know, we can't trash this. But the good thing about the new way that we kind of take music and the way that we listen to music, it's made it easy that I could adjust and write some more and put it out when it seemed necessary, which was, I wrote this song only 6 weeks ago and now here it is, playing it for you. So that's a big, I have a lot of gratitude for the new way that we're being able to put music out as artists.
Yeah, I like that too, especially because I think because you can do it so recent that it can still so much relate to you rather than a song that you're just holding on to. Right?
Yeah, could you imagine? Like I used to sit and have to promote these songs and talk about why people should listen to them and how they relate to me, when really, you know, time heals all. And when too much time goes by, it's not as raw. You're not as connected to the lyrics anymore.
Yeah, totally. Did you find that that was difficult? Because I know you wrote Malibu like a year before it actually came out. Was it harder to promote that, for example?
Yeah, I was really happy that I didn't move in the meantime, because then you'd be like a total, you know, be a fraud, which is my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That's really a tough thing, that when you put out a record that you feel like you don't relate to anymore. And especially, you know, not only sitting here talking to you would be really hard, but then you tour those records for 2 years. And by the end of it, you're like, man, like who wrote this song? I'm such a different person, especially when you're, you know, a young person and things are changing so much. It's really, really hard to stay related to a record.
Totally. Speaking of like looking back at songs or just like your career in general, do you ever look back and just like watch old Hannah Montana or just like watch an old movie that you've been in or anything like that?
I would definitely feel freaky for sitting around watching my own show, but I definitely have a good understanding of why people did really like it. I think one of the things that people really like about it is that me and my dad really had that real connection. And so I think a lot of people sat down with their family and watched the show, and sitting down with your family, with my family on the screen, was definitely something that I don't know really another kind of show that kind of had that impact in that way, because it was just so real.
Yeah, totally. And so relatable in that way. Yeah, that's so true. Okay, so I have to ask, of course, can we expect a collab with Dua Lipa?
We've been in the studio, you know, we've been kind of collaborating over the last year, getting in and out and trying different records and seeing what shoe fits the best. And I think we're on to something right now. So we've been having a good time out in LA working on some music.
Yeah, it's been, how's it been in the studio with her? Good?
I think she's the coolest because she's a really good listener, and those are the best collaborators. You know, she can see it from her perspective and how she relates, but also from, you know, my perspective, and being like a really good, she's just a really good listener. And you really want to work with people that are really present, not like, hey, I know we're writing a song, but I'm thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow to promote the record that's out right now. She just, when she says that she's going to commit to a session, she's there.
Totally. I feel like Right Minded was such a perfect show to come out at the time that it did. It felt like you like got on it right at the beginning of the pandemic. Was there a conversation from Right Minded that like really stuck out to you that you still think about?
Getting to interview Senator Elizabeth Warren was probably the coolest. The thing that was very cool about it was like a week before that, I was talking to Paris Hilton. So I think that just shows that Right Minded could bring everything, everyone and everything.
Yeah, that's what's so great about it too, is that it's so diverse in so many ways. And it's just like so chill too. So do you think that's something that we could see you do more of?
I can hear you typing. Sorry, someone's writing ferocious emails, yelling at someone via, I'm not going to put her on blast, but I want to.
Yeah, do it. That's what we
She said do it. No, I'm not going to do it. She's mass, so you can't tell that we've all been up since 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, we're up pretty early over here. But okay, wait, so what did you ask me? Sorry, I was picking
if that's something we could see you do more of, more Bright Minded.
I would definitely like to be able to keep up that that communication with the fans for sure, because that was more than having a talk show. That was what was so great about it, was that every day me and my fans were staying in check. So they were kind of hearing from me directly, which I do think is something that I definitely want to take advantage of now with all these tools that we have of like connecting with fans is so easy. I definitely want to keep up with that.
Yeah, and definitely in the pandemic, I think that's exactly what everybody needs right now. So that's why I think it was so perfect.
Agreed. You know, I actually, there's a theory that everything that people do, they do for themselves. It's just the more sophisticated that hide it better. So that means if you do something nice for someone, you kind of do it, yes, because you want to do something great, but because of the way it makes you feel to help others. So by giving, you get. And I thought that's what happened with Bright Minded, is that every day by kind of like giving back to my fans, I was getting so much more in return, because I too was getting the benefits of, I don't feel alone. I feel connected. This is less scary, because being alone is really scary. And so I think all of us going, hey, we're not alone in this, that gave all of us a sense of peace and calm.
Oh, totally. And it's just like having that company. It's so, so sweet.
Yeah.
And what's so nice about you too is that you're so open and you're just so authentic in everything that you do. And that show really showed it. And you've talked about how the fact that you've been sober for several months now. Do you find that the pandemic makes that an easier experience to go through or more difficult?
I think a lot of people struggled with sobriety at the beginning of the pandemic, because you're like, you know, most of the time you've got these goals. Goals a lot of the time are the reason for change, or keep you on that path, because you're like, well, I kind of could get distracted over here, but I've got my eye on that prize. And when you lose the you know, kind of light at the end of the tunnel, that's pretty tough. So I think like a lot of people, I kind of struggled with that in the beginning. And it's hard because you want to create a great network. I mean, a lot of us really kind of are used to getting together in groups with, you know, the kind of like minds that struggle with the same things. And when you lose that network, that's really tough too. So I just, you know, kind of encourage everyone to, whether it's sobriety, no matter what it is, whether it's, you know, getting a degree in something, stay on your path. Like this, you know, I learned a very valuable lesson of, when this is all over, you want to look back at this time and go, I stayed composed with my character, and I never like kind of broke and became something that I wouldn't be proud of, because this is real life. I know it seems like life is on pause, but it isn't.
Yeah, that's true.
You're still racking, you know, up a bill with all your friends and family on what kind of person you are. So be careful.
Yeah, I love that a lot. That's so sweet. Okay, so I wanted to know this about you, especially because like the Free Britney movement has been so big over the last couple months. I know you're a huge fan of Britney, and you even yelled Free Britney at a show last year. What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
I think, you know, I think that I think that from a public's point of view, it would be really hard to kind of relate. And because I don't personally know Britney that well, I feel like I'm also just another kind of public speculator. And I always kind of check myself too, like, is this my place? And am I just sitting from the outside thinking that I know details that I don't know, just like I always kind of complain that the public does to me. So I think it's a treat others how you want to be treated kind of thing. And I definitely don't really kind of know her personally enough to know any of the details. But I scream a lot of things at my show. But I also think that, you know, Britney, like anyone else, should have the freedom to live the life that's the most authentic to her.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, so I know that you've been on TikTok. TikTok's obviously huge. Everybody's making dances. A lot of young people. But when I was that age, I was doing the hoedown throwdown. So, yes. Right?
TikTok moves.
Yeah, so that's like the OG. So I feel like we need like a hoedown throwdown TikTok dance. What do you think?
Listen, you know what? I was actually kind of a part of this process. I've been talking to some of the influencers on TikTok, and I was talking about how the artists are the OG influencers. That's what we used to kind of do. And now it's so much about these young people creating these movements, which actually I love, because it's been really inspiring to see young people, you know, control their creative, control what they're putting out there. And then also the younger generation being able to say, hey, this is what's cool. And now I'm just a follower.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like you should make a hoedown throwdown TikTok. Then you can be the influencer yourself.
Oh, then maybe I will. I got to remember it. Maybe you remember it better than I do.
You don't remember it?
Not really. But that has to do with why I'm sober. I smoked a lot of weed. This is actually all weed.
Just for show. You don't.
It's not. There are no leftovers. That's why I'm sober.
Yeah. You got to run out, and there you go. Then you're done.
There you go.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for chatting. I really appreciate it. Such an honor.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Thanks.